Perfect, perfect, perfect.
What is going on, everybody? I go by RB, and this is Philly Take with RB. If you guys are enjoying the content of this channel, be sure to smash that like button for me, hit that subscribe if you are new, and hit that notification bell so you're instantly notified whenever I upload or go live. And today, we are finally back with the discussion of who the Sixers should target as their head coach. There's been a lot of names thrown out. They need accountability, they need discipline, and they need to establish an identity. They need to understand basketball and develop that philosophy that's going to be implemented to help this team win. And overall, this team needs that guy who is going to develop two stars in Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, who's going to surround them with the right cast, play the right guys, and overall finally get this team above that hump. You know what I'm talking. This team needs to be a championship contender. We need that guy. We will start with number 5, and for me, that is Ime Udoka, Sixers assistant coach, a guy who is already in-house. Now, this one is a little bit tricky. Like I've said, we need a guy from the outside. We need a guy who's going to come in here with a fresh perspective, and Ime Udoka has been on the staff. He's been on Brett Brown's staff, but he's gotten a lot of praise. He's been in line for a lot of other coaching jobs, and Ime Udoka knows what he's talking about. He can establish a defensive philosophy, and if he's in charge of a team, which I think he will be, in terms of the Sixers, the only reason I think he should be on this list is because it has a proven track record of working. It has worked. Look at the Raptors a few years back with Nick Nurse. He comes in, Dwayne Casey, coach of the year out. Nick Nurse steps in and leads them to a championship. Look at the guys on this staff from the past years. Monty Williams having success with the Suns. Lloyd Pierce with the Hawks. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. There have been guys on this staff who have been credible of getting the job done. He's had a lot of experience overseas. He's, been around a lot of different organizations. He was also under the Popovich coaching tree, so I'm sure he knows what he's talking about. I'm sure he's had some input on this team. And if we, do want to keep that defensive kind of minded roster, I mean, I think Ime Udoka could do a decent job. Number 4 on my list is Tyronn Lue. Yes, I made a video days back talking about why Ty Lue should not be the top candidate for the Sixers in my opinion, but I also believe that he should be on the list and should be interviewed, of course. I do end up thinking that he will go to Brooklyn and reunite with Kyrie and be there with KD as well. But Ty Lue, who has apparently expressed mutual interest with the Sixers, he absolutely deserves a chance to be looked at. He has some of the best experience throughout this coaching pool as a player and a coach. Like I said, he's been with Shaq and Kobe. He's coached the likes of Kyrie, LeBron, and others. And now he's with the Clippers as an assistant to Doc Rivers, who he has learned from. Ty Lue is not afraid to make adjustments on the fly. He has been around a lot of experience, and he's coached stars. That is an important thing. And from what we've heard, he has called out stars. He called out LeBron in the 2016 finals. And he has a championship to his name. That's a lot. That's one thing that a lot of these guys don't have. Ty Lue has a championship to his name. In my opinion, I am not sold on Ty Lue just because he has had LeBron. I mean, like I said in the other video, when you have LeBron, you're going to make the playoffs. You're going to go deep. Sure, he might be a hard type of guy. He might be able to come in here and obviously improve this team on both sides of the ball. Now, his defense, like I said in the other video, didn't always live up to par like I thought it would. I know Ty Lue can go to a place and coach stars. He was going to go to the Lakers with LeBron again and Anthony Davis. I know he can go and coach stars that are already established, but can he develop stars into being those top tier guys? I do not know. Ty Lue should absolutely be interviewed and in this process, but for me, he is number 4 on my list. Number 3 on my list, and this might surprise some people actually, but it's actually Mark Jackson. Yes, Mark Jackson. The guy who's been out of the game since 2014, who has not had an NBA roster in his hands in a long time. Yes, I understand it's a risk, but at the same time, when I look at Mark Jackson and I listen to him, this guy hasn't been completely out of the game. He's on the sidelines every single year. He sees the game inside and out. Mark Jackson would immediately come in here and guys would have his respect. Mark Jackson has been a very solid point guard throughout his career, and even as a coach, He coached for 3 years with the Warriors. He developed the Golden State Warriors into what they were before Steve Kerr came over and took the helm and led them to the championships. Do I think Mark Jackson would have won all those championships? I don't know. Do I think he had a chance of at least winning one or two? Of course I do. Mark Jackson, he taught the game to Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. Everyone talks about how you can't win until your stars are a little bit older. Well, he had Steph Curry when he was 24, 25. He had Klay around that age range. And they never gave him time to develop that roster. And Curry had, some nagging ankle injuries. There were some things going on. But those guys always had the respect of Mark Jackson. These guys nurtured under Mark Jackson, who took the Warriors to 2 back-to-back playoffs. He took them to the playoffs, had a 50-win season. Mark Jackson taught these guys the ins and outs. It just happens that the ownership group and Mark Jackson didn't get along too well, and they ended up getting him up on out of there, and we've seen what the Warriors have done since. He can easily come out. I mean, I hear this guy talk all the time about what the Sixers should do with Joel Embiid. He would absolutely establish that presence, and being a point guard, I'm sure he could have a great focus on a guy like Ben Simmons. Like I said, if we want to have him with on-ball duties, or with another guard that we bring up in here. I think Mark Jackson has honestly been blackballed. I don't understand, because there's other coaches in this league who have gotten a chance, who have succeeded in a place, but it just doesn't work out. It's not that right situation, or it's time to move on from them, and they get another chance. I don't think he needs to go to a roster where they are completely overhauling everything and starting over. He could come right in, work with these stars, and I think Mark Jackson knows basketball and can have a big impact. Number 2 on my list is Jay Wright. Look, I am a Nova fan. I watch so many Villanova games, and I've watched Jay Wright for a long time. And let me tell you, he would be an absolutely great candidate for the Philadelphia 76ers. This is the one guy from college that I would probably trust to come to the NBA, even though we've seen coaches as of late, like a Jim Beeline, come to the NBA after success in college, and it just does not work. Jay Wright, it has an even keel type of personality, but he also has so much respect from his players. And more importantly, Jay Wright, a guy who has won 2 national chips with Villanova, this guy Jay Wright, I'm telling you, develops players. That is one of the most important aspects. I've seen him turn so many 3- and 4-star recruits into NBA players in the 1st and 2nd round picks. I mean, all these guys come to mind. Jalen Brunson, he's an undersized point guard, turned him into a player of the year. Josh Hart turned him into a player of the year. Dante DiVincenzo turned him into a 1st-round draft pick. Mikal Bridges, a great 3-and-D wing. Even Ryan Arcidiacono is a NBA point guard, believe it or not. I mean, it is crazy. All the guys that I have watched Jay Wright develop, and he's more of a guy who likes to watch guys develop and lets them learn. That's why he usually does not play guys who are freshmen and sophomore. He allows them to learn and teaches them really the game of basketball, how to move. He likes an up-tempo kind of offense, a lot of motion, and really there's always a lot of energy on a Jay Wright team. We're always not the most talented, like this year before the pandemic, but they always find a way to succeed. And he's got more guys coming out as well. To this year, he had a star in Sadiq Bey, who was about to be a 1st-round pick. Go ahead and look him up if you have not yet. If you could find some way to pry Jay Wright, which, by the way, I do not think will happen. I don't think it's realistic, because he gets paid almost $4 million a year. He was offered double to even go to UCLA. No. He likes comfortability. He likes his routine. He likes where he is at. He's said before that the NBA kind of intrigues him, and he'd be open to a new opportunity, but his passion for Villanova just will not let him go anywhere. But if there was a place to start, why wouldn't it be, right here, to stay in Philadelphia, and you get to work with 2 young stars, a guy like Embiid who's about to enter his prime, and Ben Simmons. And number 1 on my top coaching target list for the Sixers is Stan Van Gundy. Yes, Stan Van Gundy, SVG. Look, there's no perfect candidate in this pool. There's not like that, tenured type of coach that you can just say everybody's going for him. No, there's no coach like that in this pool. But overall, after going through everything and looking, I think Stan Van Gundy is the best choice for the Sixers, and here's why. Number 1, Stan Van Gundy is a guy who will honestly, come right in here and he will cut to the crap, man. Like, there is no BSing with Stan Van Gundy. That is the type of guy we need. When I listen to Stan Van Gundy, and I've gone back and listened to videos and other things, all that speaks to me is leader. He would come in and have an immediate impact. Stan Van Gundy has had success in the NBA. One of the big knocks on Stan Van Gundy is he's never been able to get the job done. He's never been able to get that far and win a championship. But he got the Magic in 08 to the championship with Dwight Howard, built a team around Dwight Howard. He was an amazing coach for 5 years. Back in 05, I think it was, with Miami, when he had Shaq and Alonzo Mourning and D. Wade, he was able to take that team to the Eastern Conference Finals, even though they lost in 7 games to the Pistons. Stan Van Gundy is a guy who's always going to get you to the playoffs and always give you a chance. As of late, when he was with the Detroit Pistons, by the way, he hasn't coached in 2 years, I believe. He's had 2 years off, so he's still pretty relevant to the game. And as you know, he is an analyst. And I mean, I heard him, throughout the playoffs on the broadcast. He's literally stating everything the Sixers should be doing as I'm spitting it out. He knows the X's and O's. He knows how to put guys in position, and he's always going to keep you on top of your game and hold you accountable, and that is why I like Stan Van Gundy. Now, with the Pistons, he really did not have too much to work with. Let's not forget, he had Tobias Harris, bada bing, bada boom. Like, Tobias Harris is here. He's underperforming. Well, I don't know if you guys know, but Stan Van Gundy actually taught Tobias Harris really how to develop that three-point shot. I mean, before he went to the Clippers, when Tobias started to be on the uprise, it wasn't with the Clippers. It was actually with the Detroit Pistons, and Stan Van Gundy was the man in charge of them. Stan Van Gundy understands the game. He understands the game. Now, when the Sixers went through the process, he openly called it. He called it out and said it was embarrassing that a team was purposely trying to lose. But as time went on, I've heard him rave about Ben Simmons. I mean, even this year, he was talking about him and saying that he should be Defensive Player of the Year. He loves the game of Ben Simmons and knows he could develop him. Joel Embiid, look, like I said, Van Gundy has had a record of building around big men. He turned Dwight Howard into the man in Orlando in his first couple years. I'm telling you, go back and look at it. Dwight Howard was averaging like 15, 16 points a game, and during the years that Van Gundy was there, Dwight Howard was averaging over 20 points a game. He went from averaging 10, 11 rebounds to averaging 14, 15 rebounds. He went from going to the line 7 times a game to over 11 with Van Gundy as his coach. If you don't think Stan Van Gundy would come in here and take a hold of Joel Embiid and we know Joel Embiid with his talent is one of the best centers in the league. Sometimes he gets a little out of his head, out of his element. That would not happen with Stan Van Gundy. Joel Embiid would be on top of it every single night, and Van Gundy would be sure to let him know what he needs to do. Stan Van Gundy will not take any crap. I love it. If his team is not doing well, he will openly call them out. That is who Stan Van Gundy is, and he's had some fallouts with his organizations, honestly, because he's a little bit too bold. He speaks the truth, and people don't like it, but I absolutely love it. He has a winning record almost every year of his career, and he's just that veteran voice that we need. You know what I mean? He's not a fresh guy out of college. He's not an assistant waiting to be a coach. No, he has so much experience. It's going to be interesting to see how the Sixers kind of approach this. I hope we are able to get in a guy before free agency and draft, because I don't solely trust Elton Brand without knowing what his coach is trying to do to make all these decisions. I hope we are able to interview guys and get them in the next couple weeks, month, and we'll see what happens. Again, this is just my list, my opinions. There's some other guys left out. My dream candidate, by the way, would be Greg Popovich. He would be my absolute dream candidate, even though it would never happen. But these are my top 5. I hope the Sixers really go for Stan Van Gundy. You guys let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Who are your top 5 candidates in order? Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments section. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.
Perfect.